Namaskara and welcome to Born to Build. So, this is the first episode we are doing. I'll be using a mix of Kannada and English because my audience, my friends, my family, and my Bangalore ecosystem is watching this. So, Namaskara and welcome. So, I have a wonderful guest on the channel today. I have Aravinda Tanneerbavi, who is my long time friend. Uh, he's been an entrepreneur. He's been a professional. He's into arts. He's into social changes. He's been helping with some of the educational, what do we say, initiatives. A lot of things. Very established, accomplished guest. So welcome, Arvinda.
Thank you. Thank you, Giri, for introducing and then inviting me for this wonderful show.
Most welcome. So this is actually the first episode of this channel. So this channel is Born to Build. The reason we started this channel, so I had been discussing some of these things with Arvinda for a while, but it took a different shape. We wanted to do a education focused channel. We felt that today's children or today's generation have kind of lost the spark or lost the inspiration to do good things. Instead, they're all into the routine of trying to accomplish scores and uh, get on with their life. So that is how it started. But then, as I thought more into it, I thought it's better to start a channel where I can invite more and more guests, not just Arvinda and me. Arvinda has been my best friend for a long time, but we want to bring in more and more people with their own stories and their own advice, and let's see how it goes. So with that, that's the background of the channel. So somewhere in this episode we will touch upon why people have lost that inspiration or motivation to accomplish great things. There are people who do that, but many of us are like they have either taken a back seat or they have slowed down. And if you look at the younger generation, they are not even into not too much into innovation. They are mostly into scoring grades and trying to make it in their life. So, with that background, with that as the spirit of this channel, I just want to get into a little bit of nostalgic moments that I had with Arvinda when we were kids. Okay, we were both studying in college, and I don't think either Arvinda or me were looking at getting into a fantastic job or something. I think we were just interested in just studying and understanding a lot of things. Arvinda, your take on that? What do you think was driving us at that time?
And when we joined this industry, I mean, rather subject, computer science, it was still in a not a great shape what we see today. So it was in a developing state, and especially in India, we were still very, I won't call it as backward. We have still not come up to that stage. So everything was exciting for us. It's like learn whether it is learning lower level language or higher level language, or I mean having a computer itself was an exciting thing. So everything we was started using, we were questioning and trying to learn everything. It's not like okay, I will get a job tomorrow because of that I'm learning something, or I will learn Java because I'll get a job or something. That was not at all an intention when we started learning. So that motivated and drove us to learn a lot of things in the initial years.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. So there was a lot of excitement in learning things because there was a lot more to do. So basically, we had machine language, we had C, and Java was not yet there. I don't think Java was there when we were just finishing college. It was just making an entry, I think. So that left a lot of open ground for us to learn, do things, build applications. A lot of possibilities was there. I think that is becoming a little more challenging in the modern world because so many things have already been done. But if you go back to the days of, I don't know, sure, was it 1997 or 96? Those days, so right. So I remember you're putting so much of effort into one particular area of computer science. Especially, I remember you talking about a book by Mark J. Roshkind. Okay, I think you were so much into system programming. So if you look at it at that time, there were a lot of computers, there were a lot of operating systems, there was a lot of systems applications. So it's like you could call it saturated, or you could say that a lot of things have already been done, which is not different from what I'm saying today. But you still went ahead and did something. I remember you writing a shell program. You actually wrote a shell, if I'm correct. Uh, corn shell or something. Do you want to talk about what drove you into that? Was it the challenge of trying to understand, or what was it?
I mean, one thing I would like to mention, like we got a great guru, what we joined an institute called Uttara, where we had a MLA Shastri who was driving us. So the methodology of his teaching or the way he motivated thousands of people to learn the system, how it works, or with the way you have to approach a subject. Though he took so many sessions and he taught so many things, but at the end of the day, he didn't teach much. Actually, he gave a very good direction on what to study. So that motivated us to like, okay, if you are typing some command, you start questioning how does it work, how does it communicate with the system, or anything that we do, we were trying to question like, oh, how does it work really? Somebody would have written that, right? So we were trying to write that part. How shall we crack that? How does it really being implemented? Like writing a compiler using a compiler itself. So those kind of challenges were thrown to us by Guru, our Guru. So that 1 year, 2 year of that coaching or that environment gave us a motivation to do so many things in the system level. Though it was like today, if you say you have a browser, you have systems, very advanced systems, you don't question how does it done, how really it works. But that time, whatever the advanced softwares, like whether it is a server system or any other interface to the server, we were like motivated to question like how does
So,
it really work?
so I think it was your curiosity to
Yes,
understand something, right? I think
yes,
if we have to call out one thing that was making us learn a lot of things, it was that curiosity to
curiosity.
understand how the damn thing works. But you,
Yes, yes,
right? So okay, that's a very interesting one. But if you look at what we have today, most of the industry is filled with huge amount of tools. So we program at a very high level. We have building blocks. Nobody really goes down to system programming. Nobody looks into how your kernel is structured, how you have those buffers, all of those things. Even in 1997, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of things happening in applications. There
yes,
was the beginning of client server,
yes.
something going on, but still something dragged you into the systems area, right? I think eventually you went on to networks, you got into network stacks, then uh, I think you did this software defined networking. I think you were working on startups. You went
Yeah.
into that systems direction. So what pulled you into systems? Why is it that what attracted you?
But as you really you told, like that curiosity developed over the years because of the everything was new to us at that point of time. Though the systems were advanced in the sense from whenever we get a 486 or 386 or any systems which was advanced at that point of time, but that curiously, how does the BIOS work, or how does the terminate resident program works, or how does the assembly language work, or that kind of questions used to be haunted us, and then we try to do at least search a program, execute it, do something. That really gave us a breadth of. But one thing I'm convinced, like whether it is whichever advanced software today, AI, whatever you talk, but the principles of program you can learn only with that approach. So if you are okay, you don't need to go to the very lowest level of understanding the instructions or how does the CPU works or something, but still the fundamentals of the operating system, fundamentals of the languages, that if you have a good foundation, even today I think it will help any programmer who becomes a very good AI engineer or machine learning, or he goes in advanced algorithms or anything. I think that foundation should be built into each individual. That will help him to think in a
Yeah.
very broad way.
No, yeah, yeah. I also want to add that if I was just trying to think about that discussions we used to have when we were still in college. We used to try to understand how a bootloader works. Nobody's going to ask us about bootloaders. Even when you go to interviews or jobs, people are not going to ask because they don't know. That's the beauty of it. Nobody knows. But
Yes,
you took some time to understand that. I think you, not just you. I mean, our lot of people in our
many
time,
people, yeah.
many people. So there was something special at that time. I think that speciality still exists even today. Only thing like I said in my introductory video, we have too much of high level languages, gadgets, too much of cloud, so many things at a very high level. People are not able to focus on the smaller things that happen inside. But for the today's generation, right? Do you think they have the same kind of spark like what we used to have? Do you see them? I mean, do you have any advice for how they should approach learning computer science and getting into these professions?
I mean, I won't call it as today's generation or advice. I mean, I'm not such a big fellow to give an advice or anything. But see, technically, with the experience that gained over the different technologies, that foundation that I'm talking about, if you are able to build initial years, like instead of initially straight away you jump into some Python libraries and go into some frameworks and then trying to do some use some full stack development. If you build 1 or 2 years, if you build a very good foundation of understanding of the system, as I told you, you don't need to understand each bit and how does a sticky bit works or how does a zero or something very lowest level you don't need to understand. But the overall organization of the system, how does the flow, control flow works, how does the switching happens, those foundations if you have, that will help in high level programming also. Because same principles are applied in whether you communicate between a full stack application from different machines or single machine, all those principles are same.
So, so you're basically, if I understand this right, you are saying that strong foundations really matter. Let's even keep the curiosity aside, but let's build really strong foundations, is what you would recommend today.
Yeah, when you try to build a foundation, definitely curiosity will come up because you will try to, whenever you try to crack something, you will try to question more and more deeper into it. How does it really work? Just in a compilation process, if you try to break it down, each step what happens, if you try to use some switches in the compiler and then stop at that point, then you will try to understand the nitty-gritties of the compiler, how does it work and everything. You don't need to write a really compiler today because there are a lot of tools which can give you directly a compiler. But the principle of compilation, the principle of data organization, whether you are storing a simple, all those principles are same across any level of programming.
Yep, absolutely. So I think that's a very strong point where we are saying that don't jump into learning the latest tools and technology straight away.
Exactly.
Rather, spend some time to understand how the foundations work. So, one book that comes to mind is by Charles Petzold. I came across it recently after 40 years when I'm about to, let's say, come out of technical profession. I came about it very recently. So that book really talks about how bits and bytes work and why did they even choose binary bits and bytes for the computer to function? Why not something other than binary? So I think
Exactly. You used the right word. Why? You should start questioning why.
absolutely.
Whether you use a why zero was used, why one was used. If you write a box, why box is used? That question has to come into individual's mind.
Absolutely. And I think the more I talk to the new generation and the next set of people who are taking on these things, they are more and more focused on getting onto the next best job with the highest package or whatever fancy name. They want to work for FANG industries. Did you ever want to work for FANG companies of your time?
I mean, in a technical domain, we had some dreams. Oh, we wanted to build a Unix or we wanted to build a compiler or that kind of dreams used to come. But later we realized that has already just been done on top of it. And the industry was developing in India, so we had a very less exposure to the what's happening around the globe in the technology sector. Whatever the systems that we get here or whatever the network availability we get here was our exposure. So we didn't had like Fortune 500. I mean, I have to work in a such big. We never had such kind of a
Right.
idea as such.
Right. I think I agree on that. So I don't think we looked at a specific company to work for, but rather we were looking for a certain domain. For example, you were very interested in systems. I had my own interest. So we were trying to find which companies really work on that. I think that's an interesting take. So we'll just continue the conversation on to the next part of your life. We are jumping across 10 to 20 years of your life where you eventually did a startup. You founded your own company. So you are the co-founder or the founder of your company, right? And it was a fintech startup. So that means you still carried that spark with you about trying to do something of your own or some product idea of your own for almost 20 years. Can you talk about what was that spark? Why did you get into I mean, why did you start this fintech startup? What do you think?
See, by nature, I'm an artist and I work on a dance. I'm a dancer and then theater artist and so many areas I'm involved. So the creative nature will always keep me thinking either if there is a problem, I would like to solve it in my own way, or I'll be always thinking about a solution. And if that solution thing, if I think that is a good solution, then I would like to make it the product. Or I was always having that kind of a thinking. And even if you remember, like as you told, we did a shell programming, or we wanted to do a unique shell on the Windows. So that was our okay, oh, that was a great achievement at that point of time.
Yes.
That kind of whenever I get an idea, like I used to convert it into some concrete stuff and then trying to find a answer for the problems. So that nature still, I'm still like, as you told about education. So I'm still thinking about how can we solve education problem, or I'm still working on that. So like that, I keep on thinking about any problem that I see, or if I get into the problem or somebody asks me about solution, then I'll start thinking about this, how do I solve
So,
it, or
so
whether
a
it's
typical,
technical or non-technical or anything that I have that nature.
so your typical 9 to 5 job really does not hold your interest. So you
No,
continue to
no,
have a passion for something
that
amazing.
that is really not able. I mean, I couldn't able to convert it into a successful entrepreneurship 9 to 5
Uh,
job.
that I've kind of set as a context for this whole channel itself, where I've said that, see, success is something we define. I mean, each person's success is different. So if I have a dream of doing a startup, and if I never do that because of whatever constraints, I actually would consider myself unsuccessful. But if I start it, if I do something, and if it doesn't make money, that I would still consider as successful because I pursued my dream. Okay, it didn't work. Not everything needs to work. So I wouldn't call that as a failure. So
Like
yeah,
that,
just
we both are in the same boat in that sense.
so let me just hang on to that thought of success and the fintech world, right? So when you started this fintech company, apart from the technical problem of trying to bring everything to the cloud, what exactly was the problem were you trying to solve? I'm sure you saw some opportunity, right? So most products are beyond just a technical product. There's something more you're trying to solve. What was that?
Your question was little breaking.
Okay, sorry. I was saying that when you started the fintech company, of course, there is the technical challenge of how to make everything work, but there was also a specific problem you are trying to solve. So, as an entrepreneur, you identified something that is a pain point for a lot of people. Can you touch upon what was that problem and how did you come across the problem?
Actually, personal finance management is as the name suggests, it's a problem for everybody. So I won't call it as a problem. It's a continuous effort from everybody to manage their finances in a good way, bad way, depends on their situation and their decisions and so many things. So, and ultimately, how you lead your life with your managing your money also makes a difference. So, when the 2003 downturn started, one of my colleague in Cisco, so he is a technical guy, but he dreamt of like, can we solve this problem? So he worked on researched on it for a couple of years. So he's extremely passionate about the finance area and the subjects topic related to it. So he did some exams also. So CFA, some exams he passed. Then though he's a senior manager in Cisco still, so he still carries that passion, and so he developed his own personal tool with Excel sheet, helping his friends to solve that problem. So at the time of 2013 or something, he realized, no, I have to pursue my passion. So he quit the job and started the venture. So that time I was also, Nokia was trying to acquired by Microsoft. So many changes were happening. So that time he called me. So he wanted a technical support. So though he's a technical guy, but architecture or design or implementation, or he's not an expert in that. So he can manage a project, but financial domain is expert. So I was also convinced the way the solution that he was proposing, and then that might solve
So,
thousands of people. So we still believe
yeah,
that that venture is still live. We are still going to pursue some
yeah.
time.
So,
Let's see how does it materialize. So that
yeah,
time
I
I
think
joined with him, and then we tried to get a funding. We did a web application, then we did a mobile application. So we were successful to an extent. We got some first round of funding, but second round COVID came, and then we got a long break. So we were forced to join back the industry because we were not earning much for 6 years. So that was a long break.
sure, absolutely. life has to go on. So I mean that's interesting. I'll come back to that somewhere in the end about why and how we should switch out of entrepreneurship if it is not working. But before we go there, I think one observation I make is that uh, you identified a problem that is common to most people. Personal finance is something that is very important for every person, right? No matter how much you earn. And they may not be the best at planning out how their finances should be. Some of them would invest in stocks, some of them would put it in FDs, they would buy property. So it's a varieties of things that you do try to get the most out of your money. I think that's where your platform would really have helped. And to me, I think that was the spark, if you ask me. The spark was you were trying to solve a problem for common man, saying that guys, there are better ways to handle your personal finances other than, you know, just reading some articles and trying to do some investments. I think that was the spark. So I think you need that motivation to start a company or start a product.
No,
So
one of the greatest motivations was it is a problem for me also. So I was not able to manage my finances as I'm expecting it. So I needed some kind of a tool or I needed some kind of a guidance. So that my partner gave me ideas. So that I realized it will help everybody. So then I jumped into that boat and then we started the startup.
I think for many of these bootstrapped startups and people like us who try to do everything on our own, we usually start with something that is close to our heart. So I remember trying to do something very similar where I was trying to build products, and it was like it takes a lot of code to actually deliver a big product. So one of the things I was trying to do was do the equivalent of today's low code platforms, but this was 2006. So there is very little code to be done. You do drag and drop, connect
I
everything.
remember, yeah.
It failed, but it gave me a huge kick in terms of what I want to do. So I think that basically brings everything together as a spark. So today, what area do you think is ripe for these kind of ideas and products?
See, India especially has a lot of scope in many of the areas because we are still not solved many of our internal problems. Either it could be a garbage management to the nuclear waste management. We have a lot of opportunities in that everything requires technology and support, software, and so many things at the back office.
But everybody just wants to do a unicorn, right? We don't want to do social
That is
causes. No.
that is the see that then we cannot solve the actual problems of the somebody else has to solve our problem.
So the spark becomes just that, okay, I'm doing something big, whether it's solving a problem or not, we don't know.
Exactly.
Interesting. Interesting. So I just want to move on to one particular area of what do you think has caused this current state we are in? Because I know that education system is something very close to your heart. You have spent a lot of time talking to education system advisors and all the forums. So do you think the way we study and the way we are educated has led us to this place where we are trying to get the most money possible, or where we are trying to study something that will give us a job, or you know we lose the passion, but we just go about it as a robotic, monotonous job. Do you think the system is a problem for this?
Definitely, system is a problem, and the system created the mindset in the society, like herd mindset or herd mentality. Both are going hand in hand. So it's difficult to change the herd mindset if you don't change the system. If you don't change the system, herd mindset won't change. So both are going hand in hand to create a society where we are less creative, where we are dependent on like everybody. Okay, the and the myth that created like last 100 years or so. Educate. If you become educated, you are like a great fellow, or if you are going to you are achieve something in life. So
And English speaking, by the way, just
English
want to say that.
speaking, so many things that all those myths created. So if you join a school, okay, done. Your life is started. If you finish your school, that is your life is done. Degree, everybody has to do degree. This concept of education itself is I would challenge because I have done a lot of research on that. But as you rightly told, there is a system and the society is going in hand in competing with each other to create the bad things more than the good things that has to evolve out of the system. Hopefully somebody will realize at some point, and everybody is trying in their own way.
Yeah, but then see, the education system is also a means to an end, right? So you go through you in the sense, let's say I have kids, so my kids go through this system of educating themselves from school, colleges, degrees, or whatever. All of this is for them to start earning a living. We are not really teaching them about do something that you are passionate about. It never comes into discussion. So the system is not really meant for that. So are you saying that we should bring changes in the system? Is there something you are suggesting?
See, earning and living and this education should be decoupled. In the sense, see, because, see, for if you take an example of any of the kids, our own kids, if they study 10 years or 12 years or after that, if they are not, if they are not convinced what they have to do, that means there is a failure in the system. They have not yet come to a stage where they don't know what is their interest or what they are good at it. I don't say everybody will become Vishweshwaraya or they will become genius or anything. But if you are not confident to lead your life, then there is some really problem with the system. And see, if you are doing so many other things in life, if you are doing something else, so degree is not should not be the means end to it or means to it. So the skills, basically skills should be the skill oriented, and the skill should be actually given a proper equitable approach. Like some skills are extremely lucrative, some skills are very bad. Life skills have become so bad that people won't take the life skills at all. They don't get high returns. So everybody wants to learn computers and they will become software engineers in MNC and get some 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, whatever, 30 lakhs. But you don't realize that MNC will throw you out if they don't, if you, then you don't have any other job. So if they throw you out, they will close down their shop. They will say, yeah, yes, come, you are not required. What skill you have? You don't know cooking, you don't know nothing, you don't know anything.
My, my only option is to look for another job with the same skill set. I don't have any
Sense,
other
and
skills.
they don't need that skill set.
So that
Another 10 years down the line, my CA Linux is not required at all.
so a good one. So is that why people are worried about AI tools today? I see articles saying, "Oh, AI is going to make programmers obsolete." Is 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 that the cause?
See, this kind of change happens over the decade. Some things changes happen over decades or centuries. Some things happen in 5 years or something like that. The last 30 years, the changes are happening much faster. See, we are worried about AI, right? But look at the amount of changes happening in all other fields. A gas pipeline guy, if the pipeline comes to my gas cylinder supply guy, what will he do? He has to find some other job. There is nothing to supply. So every field there is a change happening over the period of time. So the generation has to adapt to the change and they have to look for their. That's why I told the system, if you are gear up the system, they should be able to find alternatives in the system itself, which is lucrative, which is more interesting, which they can develop. As I told you,
So
garbage management might be a wonderful opportunity across India. We might find very good technologies required for it. We might need to microbiology. We might need so many other areas to work on the garbage management.
speaking of garbage management, I remember our Belandur Lake. Somebody had made an offer from UK saying that I'm going to clean up the entire lake for you, and I will even pay you for clearing the garbage. So, which means they had a profitable model. It was
Definitely,
proposed. So,
definitely.
I don't think our system helps us think like that.
Yes, we don't even think.
So, so in the education system, what I mean, I know that it's a very deep topic.
Very
So
big topic.
viewers, yeah, viewers, just to uh, put it out here, we are going to do a deep dive on just education. There's a separate, smaller sub channel we are building. It's called Gurugale. Just Arvinda and I will be there, and probably Arvinda will be driving most of the conversations with a lot of very well established people coming from the education domain. So do look out for that. The channel is called Gurugade. I will put a link down there. So meanwhile, can you maybe give a very small hint about what are the changes you're proposing if you want the education system to help us through this, turbulent times?
See, there is the approach of education needs to be changed. Like you have to understand this purpose. If you know, then you will find a proper solution. So if your purpose is to make the people to read and write, then your purpose will be they will be read and write only. If your purpose is make them to have a confident life, they enjoy the life, they build a system or they build a society, they contribute in so many things. Every individual becomes creative in their own way. They don't need to be geniuses. but he might be writing poems or he might be writing so many things in their own domain. They might be creating a new language called Kannad, whatever they can. So that creativity has to be nourished in the childhood days,
So,
which is
so
lacking in the current system badly. And more people are driven into the concept of okay, you become board exam, then you take the PUC, then you take the competitive exams, finish the degree. Somehow you have to become degree holder. The
so
NEP says,
you're
yeah, we are going to break it, but I don't see that approach is. If you don't know the purpose, then your approach will also not going to change.
so you're saying that our current system is tuned for a very narrow approach to specialize in
Ex-
just maybe one or two subjects. And if you get a job in that subject, well and good.
yeah,
And if you lose that job, you have to find something very similar. You don't
yes.
have any other skill. So
Otherwise, you'll be
that's the
depressed. If you don't get that job, you'll be depressed. You'll be depend on your parents, or that's a different problem.
right, right. So, so you said adding an alternate skill along with your primary skill makes sense. So the NEP system of majors and minors, do you think that will solve the problem?
See, majors and minors is a good starting point, but I would say you look at the whole system. First of all, this board, dissolve the board. All this 10th board, PUC
You are
board.
not you are
No,
not going to be popular to say that, but yeah, sure, I understand.
first of all, you remove. When you are applying for a clerical job, any you call it as a menial job or any job, they are going to examine you. They will give some test or they will give some interview and so many things. Then why do you need a board? Let them decide. Every college does their exam. IIT does their own exam. CET there is an exam. Then why do you need a board?
So
So, see,
this
first of all, you have to clean up the system where you make a transparent system and start giving emphasis on the developing the confidence in an individual. For only one some small example, I will tell you, like language learning. Okay, why do we need to learn language? You have to be confident, communicate with the society. You have to be confident. Everybody will not learn literature. Everybody doesn't read all the. That is historically also that percentage will be very less. So, but our approach is content driven. Oh, you have to read Kuvempu. Oh, you have to read Kumaravyasa. That is the approach itself is wrong. So, if you want to make people to learn language, you will find a suitable alternative, so that you remove this problem of like English learning became a problem in our society because English was taught like you have to run and Martin read this one, go
correct.
with all the grammar and so people will get confused. So half of them don't learn properly. Half of them they will drop out.
This this situation also led to a very drastic step. If you remember, at some point, Elon Musk has made a statement saying that I don't want to know what company you work for, what your academic qualifications is. I just
Yes,
want you to apply and be qualified for the job.
yes.
Do you think that extreme step would help? Do you think everybody should just
Definitely, so to change the system, you need certain surgeries. Like if you want to remove a cancer, you have to remove the cancer from that original place. If you don't see, for example, these boards are the root cause of the corruption in the education system. They will corrupt your brain. I'm not just talking about corruption of the money.
finance? Yeah.
It corrupts your brain itself because they will talk about in NEP also they talk about rote learning you remove. But once you say exam, you are definitely you are made to memorize,
So
and
when you
you are
say
memorizing wrong things. So instead of your thinking and memorizing, you are memorizing for the sake of getting marks. If you understand a concept, you will automatically memorize.
so when you
If you
say it's corrupting the mind, what I understand this as saying that the methodology of how you are asking the brain to learn things, that itself is wrong, and that is
yes,
corruption of your natural
yes,
way of learning. Okay,
yes.
awesome.
See, one last point I'll tell you.
Yeah,
See, the natural instinct of a human being is listening. You start learning by listening from your birth. The first thing is your ears is going to work, not eyes. First thing your ears is going to work. So your natural way of learning is not writing and reading. It is about listening. So you should learn by listening. So the best way of learning is by listening means how do you make it to learn? You have to find a good alternative. I have solutions for it. Let's discuss in a different channel. But first thing is you have to approach is you have to make the people to listen and then learn, not write. A for apple. No, that should not be the way. You should not make me to learn this is the past tense, present tense, and all those things. I should be able to automatically speak without knowing that. Child does not. Child learns his mother tongue without knowing any grammar or anything, right?
Yeah,
How does it learn?
so I speak Telugu at home. Okay, I've never read Telugu. I've never written Telugu, but I speak Telugu.
Yeah. Now also you may not be able to read it properly,
And even now I
but you
don't.
read a proper. I mean,
My
yes,
wife will
that's how you
get
should
really
learn.
mad about this, but yeah, even now I don't read Telugu. But yeah, I speak Telugu. So
See, that's
fantastic
how you should
point.
learn.
Yeah, fantastic point. So we'll do a much deeper discussion on this because Arvinda has been working with the education authorities and some of the stalwarts in the education domain. And he has also presented to a forum where the education ministers and the education ministry has taken a look at what his suggestions are. So we'll do a really deep dive onto that. And maybe, yeah, we still don't have the episodes ready, but it should be coming up soon. So watch out for that. I will just quickly change gears to what should we tell our next generation of people. I have two questions. So first, let's start with the next generation. What do you want to tell them? Like, what do you want them to experiment more and learn new things other than the primary topics?
Definitely, they have to experiment because now it is more clearer. Like whatever you learn, job is not guaranteed. So we talk about AI or any other areas, any areas. Even defense job is also not guaranteed. You don't require soldiers at all. You can do away with soldiers itself. So anything you do, job is not guaranteed. So now once if that society realizes that, then your learning will change. So you will start learning the things. You may not get a job, but you will start enjoying it. That should be our aim. I mean, the
Right.
next generation should realize that no matter you pass out IIT or you become a first rank holder, job is not guaranteed. So don't
Yeah.
worry about job when you're taking first rank or when you're studying something. Study subject, understand, enjoy, deep dive into it. Any subject.
Easier said than done is what my son would tell
Yes.
me, but but yes, that's the necessary
Yeah,
advice today.
definitely.
I
It's
agree.
easy to say, but as I agree, you have to
Yeah.
sweat it out. If you don't sweat
Yes.
it out, you will not achieve
Yeah.
anything.
And also the social pressures. Children are trying to meet expectations,
Yeah,
meet certain monetary goals that they set for themselves. So it's a complex one, but definitely the solution is correct. I mean, how do we make them adopt it? It's a good question. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. So one other question. I said there are two questions. One was for the next generation. The other is for the older generation. People like us who are into their 40s, 50s, maybe even people who are retiring in their 60s. So is that the end of the line for them? Is there something they should be doing after a job? What do they do after they come out of a job?
it depends on your interest and how over the years, as I'm 53 years now,
Most people are
45,
interested
50 years,
in
how I develop my interest.
most people are just interested in making money and seeing their bank account grow, and that is going to stop very soon. So what do you say now?
Yeah, I mean, if you are really crazy about, I have seen an uncle. Yeah, I've seen an uncle who keeps sitting and trading day and night. I was 85 years old. But
Is that
that
enjoyable for him?
yes, that if he enjoys it, he is fine. So if you enjoy that, it is okay. But if you are cribbing after doing that, and if it is not enough for you, then you have a really problem. So I won't say there is no prescribed solution. Best the approach that I'm trying to take is to learn every day something new. If you are, whatever I couldn't learn in 50 years, so I learn some Vedas or shlokas or I'll read some other literature. So whatever developed areas that have developed interest, I'm trying to do more and more in it. If nothing
Absolutely.
happens, then I sleep.
I think you're being a little modest on all the other things you do other than what we spoke about. So yeah, your interest in the arts, I think that keeps you alive. So yeah, I think it comes back to having something other than work to do. At a certain age, we should have some alternatives like whatever,
Yeah, you
books,
have to
reading.
develop. It
Yeah.
doesn't come overnight.
So
You have to
right.
start 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 at some point.
So one of the things I found interesting is that most of our generation have accumulated a lot of knowledge by now. either through hook or crook, they have it. And if you poke them a little bit, shake them a little bit, some gems of wisdom will come out of them. So that is why I started the channel. And Arvinda has been a great co-host. So I'll be bringing on Arvinda even more as we come to the end of the session. So Arvinda, I think we are a little out of time. We planned for a shorter session, but it was fantastic to talk to you. I'll again invite you and we'll continue on these topics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kiri, giving me the opportunity and sharing my thoughts. It's a good
Thanks,
start.
Arvinda.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. We'll
Thank you.
see how far we can go. We are working on this. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.